This tutorial describes the well location form. So in the previous tutorial, we created a grid cell model and we infilled the grid cell model from a digitized bitmap, and we obtained porosity net thickness maps from the digitized grid map. And at the same time, we also infilled the digitized well locations map. So when we did that, we obtained, in that particular case, 4 well locations, and these well locations represent the grid cells where the well intersects the grid cell model. These are well locations, and we have to provide properties of the well at these well locations. To do that, we would use the well location form, which would be obtained from here, show well location form, or is also available from the main preprocessor menu, which is here, well locations form. This is well locations form too. So we can access this form from 2 locations. Okay, so going back to this one here, and we can access the well location form from here. And in the well location form, if I were to move into this window here, in the well location form, we would have a bar here that shows us the currently entered wells that have well locations. So these are the well 2, well 3, well 4, or we can choose one or any of those wells. So in this case, I've selected all 4 wells, and for each well, there's a well name, the type of the well producer. So if I click on each column, the help box shows what is available for that particular column. So this is the date, and this is date in year, month, day, or we can change the date to calendar days. This is the IJK of that location. So this represents the I. So 21, 23, 1. This is 21. This is well number 1 here. So that represents the location of the well. And if it's a locally refined cell, the IJK of the locally refined cell shows here. The KH of the well. This KH of the well is the location of the K of the K and H. Now, going to the very end here, the direction of the well is X, Y, Z, and the K and H depends on the direction of the well. The H of the well is the length of the well in that cell direction. So if the cell length is in the X direction is a certain length, and the well is in the X direction, then that is the H of that well. So in this case, the well is in the Z direction, so the thickness of the cell is the H of this well location. The K is the orthogonal permeability to that direction. So in this case, it's the X and Y permeability. Typically, the square root of Kx times Ky will give you the K orthogonal to that direction. So the KH is obtained by taking the H of the cell length in that direction times the K perpendicular to that direction. And that KH is either automatically created using a -1 from current cell conditions, or directly specified, typed in by the user. Or if you don't have that, you can just get KH on the grid, and that would in this case, I have not entered permeabilities yet, so in this case, it won't be able to compute it. But if I had K and H entered, it will compute these values at this point in time. It's advisable to leave this as -1, because then if we make changes to the K or H of the cell, it's automatically reflected in these values. The perforation fraction is the fraction of the H, it is open to flow. So if the well is halfway through that cell, so the H is 0.5 of the well length over the dimension of the cell. Okay, the other one, segment number, is to show the calculation sequence. If we enter a segment number for well pressure phase drop in 7 locations, gas wells. So these are specific options for the well locations. Now, if we have more than one location for a well, for example, in well 1, if we were to complete the wells vertically, for example, we can go in and type in edit fill down and type in additional locations. For example, this is layer 2, this is producer layer 2, and we have 2 locations for the well. We can do this for all the wells, so if we can say complete all wells vertically, we say yes to that, and if we look at all the wells now, we can see that all of them have now two layer completions. We can change the time of the completion. So for example, some wells may come in later. This well may come in 1 year later, 365 days. This well may come in, let's say, 730 days. Or in the location, or one location may come in at a different point in time. We could sort it by time, so we know which wells come across. So these columns are sortable by clicking on the triangular button here. So we can sort it by well number, well name, time, days, location, and so on. A well must be either a producer or an injector. So in this case, it's gas injector or water injector. So if you wanted to change the type of the well, for example, well 4 here could change from a producer to injector. So we can copy down, Control C, Control V, and at some point in time, let's say 3 years down the road, 1095 days, we can change this one to be a water injector. So we can have water injector. So the same well with a different well number. We must use a different well number when we change the type of the well. Okay, so in this case, it's the same well locations, a different type at a different time, a different well number. We can add new wells using this option here. So if you add another well, or we can use it by visually looking at the map and adding new wells. So if I were to this well 5 is added now. If I were to move this form a bit off, and we can use this option here, wells, add locations, delete locations. So for example, if I want to make this into a horizontal well, if I look at this well here and do a cross section, XZ, and now I have the 2 locations I've added. I can use these wells, delete locations. I can delete locations, and when I say that, click delete locations, it says click right mouse button to delete well location. So I click right mouse button, left mouse select, right mouse, that becomes a well, that becomes a single well location for this well here. So I go wells, display cross section at this point, and if I go in and now use wells add locations, the add location form appears, and this well here is well number 2. So well number 2 here, I select well number 2. I must click to select well number 2. Selected well is number 2, and I click on say this is my horizontal well. So I go right mouse to add, right mouse click, right mouse click, right mouse click, right mouse click, and so on. So this is the well locations for your and they can go down a second layer. So I can go control forward. Let me show you the display options. show all wells on XY location. You can see that this is the path of the well, so this is now well number 2. I can go wells, allocations, well number 2, and this will be right click, so this well will go down to the next layer in the horizontal well path. Okay, so that will add well locations. We can add a new well if we want well number 6. For example, if I add well number 6, and 6 is another new well. And then for that well number 6, you can click here and say add this well number 6, for example. So if you now look at the well location form, well number 5, so well number 2 has all these locations here that we have entered. We must make sure that timestamps are correct. So control down, and look in the direction of the well is either in X or Y direction for the horizontal well. I'm just putting X or Y, but you have to be careful of the orientation of the well. Okay, so this is the well locations tutorial. Thank you very much for your attention.